I've heard so many people say, wow, look at those gold class riders. They've got almost no protection on their bike. A lot of them aren't even using bark busters or full wrap handguards. They might have a carbon fibre exhaust on the exhaust, but maybe not even that. I mean, what's your take on that? Now, at a silver class level, would you say, no, you just need to protect your bike with all these various guards and protectors?
Yeah, look, there is a downside to having all the protective gear on a bike. Those things being you're adding weight, you lose a little bit of clearance on the side of the bike with the big P-Tech guards. But the pro side of that argument is that I've done some pretty serious crashes in my bikes onto rocks, onto logs, off ledges, upside down, back to front. And I think with the P-Tech gear on the bikes, I don't think I've ever had a mechanical DNF in any of the races that I've competed in, which, making sure your body is ready is one thing, but knowing that your bike is going to last through the abuse of going through these silly rocky creeks, it's one less thing to worry about, which means that you can focus more on what's happening in front of you.
And actually, speaking of rocky creeks, what are your sort of techniques, strategies in dealing with just the endless rocky creek beds and rock sections in this event?
Yeah, so this was a bit of a funny event because we had a couple of different types of creeks. We had some lower lying creeks with sort of softball sized rocks, which were just really awkward to get through. And then later on in the race, we had some pretty nasty boulder filled rocks, with ankle breakers and arm breakers and all sorts of things in there. So the main thing that I was trying to concentrate on in the nastier rock sections was not getting my bike jammed in any rocks, trying to keep my pegs clear from getting snagged, and also trying to make an effort to keep my feet where I can put them down on the ground if I needed to. Within reason, there's a couple of sections through here you can see I'm carrying the front wheel to try and get through holes so that I don't get snagged up, but super important to get good line choices through these rocks, because the wrong line choice can get you hung up for 15-20 minutes and you end up sort of dragging the bike through the rocks as opposed to riding it.
It's certainly something I've seen when you watch the pro riders overseas, Jarvis, Walker, when they come up to something very tricky, they almost always stop, or at least they'll slow down enough to analyse really quickly. I've got 6 different lines, which is probably going to be the best one.
That's right, and you'll see, I suppose this is where the trial side of riding skills come into it. Sacrificing your front wheel line to get your back wheel in a better position. The front wheel's easier to move around compared to the back wheel. But you'll see through some of this footage here, the choice between a good line and a poor line can end up in some pretty serious injury and bottlenecks. It's just being able to think outside the box is pretty important.
And what about tyres and tyre pressures? I mean, that's what a lot of guys think is the answer. It's like, I need a new tyre, need more traction. The only way to do that is a brand new knobby on the rear with square edges.
80% the tyre, 20% the rider.
Yeah, I wish.
Don't we all?
Yeah. I'm running a 1990 profile front tyre, Metis tyre. For this particular race, I've gone back to a Shinko 525 Cheetah on the back. I have nothing bad to say about those tyres. Like, I abuse the crap out of them. They always hook up really well.
You talking about with a tubeless system?
That is, and I think I ended up in these wet, rocky creek sections. I ended up letting a bit of pressure out, and I think I ended up at about 2 or 3 psi in the back. Yeah, look, new tyres are always really good help, but not really the be-all and end-all and the key to getting through one of these races.
Yeah, I did this event on what you pretty much call a shagged rear tyre. I know, Barry, yours was pretty shagged. You were did it as a sweep, but it still did the same course. But yeah, I found with the tubeless system and about 4 psi, there was just traction everywhere, and that's on a shagged tyre.